Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. This is Marin Hirsch, Sales Manager at NetElixir, and today's topic for our webinar is your website's SEO stuck in the past? So here's a brief background about NetElixir before we get started. We offer search marketing services and technology to retailers like Lenovo, Oneida, and K-Swiss. Our headquarters is in Princeton, New Jersey, and we have global offices in London and Hyderabad, India. Our team here at NetElixir consists of 70-plus members, from search marketing engineers to data scientists, technologists, global operations managers, all working together towards our vision of empowering global search advertisers. We invite you to follow us at NetElixir, and feel free to check out our website, NetElixir.com. So about NetElixir University. We were launched in 2012 with a vision of democratizing the digital marketing industry through exceptional knowledge and expertise sharing. Our goal here is to share best practices in retail and digital marketing with 10,000 businesses worldwide by 2015. Feel free to join our LinkedIn group, NetElixir University, and we invite you to spread the love and tweet our webinar insights, #NetElixirU. So today's speaker for our SEO webinar is going to be Shawn Swaim. He's our SEO manager and expert at NetElixir. He has been featured in Philly Business Journal and Yahoo News, and has 10 years of web development and SEO experience. If you'd like to connect with Shawn on LinkedIn, here is his LinkedIn profile. Today's table of contents that Shawn is going to be covering is tricks and tactics that have always been bad, a look at the past SEO trends, the current state of SEO. Then Shawn's going to jump into a live audit today, and then we'll open up the floor to questions, and we'll answer as many questions as we can on the air, and then we'll follow up with everyone else afterwards. So I'm going to pass it over to Shawn now, Shawn Swaim, who's going to be our speaker today.
Thank you very much, Marin, and thank you everybody that is joining us today on this wonderful first day of spring. I'm sure we would all rather be out there grabbing water ice, doing other spring-related things, but we are here today learning about digital marketing and SEO and how it has changed over the years. So I really thank you for joining us today in our quest here. So the purpose of today's webinar, last time we did the SEO webinar, we really looked at semantic search and how that was going to be looking for the future of SEO and search engine optimization. Today we took the opposite approach. We wanted to take a look at the past of SEO. We wanted to take a look at what people were doing in years prior to the new age of Google, if you want to call it that. So in preparation for today's webinar, we dug through tons of articles related to things like SEO Trends from 2004, SEO Trends from 2005, SEO Predictions for 2006. And what we found was that there are a lot of voices that are still relevant in the SEO community today that were talking about things in the past that Google really kind of frowns upon now. And this isn't an attempt to take shots at those individuals by any stretch of the imagination. What it's about is the fact that Google is changing the rules. And Google wants to make it so that you earn your place on their search results pages. So that's where we took the approach for today's webinar in looking at the past, analyzing the kinds of things that people were doing, analyzing the changes that Google is making, and then using that knowledge and applying it towards putting together a plan for the future so that you can make sure that your web presence is never going to be harmed moving forward. So first we're going to start with a few things, different tricks and tactics that have always been bad, and this is just a few of many. Things that include cloaking, hidden text, keyword stuffing, paid links, all of these kinds of different tactics that even as you're doing, you have to really question, geez, this seems kind of shady. This isn't really the best thing to be presenting to the end user on the web. And Google really can find these things pretty easily, and they have been known to take action on these types of tactics on a regular basis. A few famous examples include JCPenney's and Overstock.com. Both of those websites for a short period of time were penalized by Google. They could not show up in Google search results for specific keywords that were strong keywords for those brands. So we're going to move forward. The first period that we're going to look at is 2004 to 2006. Everything that I looked at in doing the research for this webinar over the past couple weeks, the main topic was backlinks. Backlinks were king in 2004 to 2006. These backlinks included directories, article directories, resource links, pretty much anywhere that you could legitimately get a backlink. And we say legitimately because we're not talking about the tactics that we talked about before that were considered black hat. We're talking about legitimate places that you could go and submit, and within a week you would have a backlink if it was an active website. And another tactic that was used here that was really talked about a lot was keyword-rich anchor text. So what that means is that the link itself that was pointed to your website would include a keyword that you were targeting. So when you would go to a directory, you would fill out a form, and it would ask you what you wanted your anchor text to be, and you just said, I want it to be long tail keyword A. And that was considered a ranking signal. I'm sorry, it wasn't considered. It was a ranking signal that Google used when they returned their results. And it worked for a long time. And then moving into 2007 and 2010, we started really looking at a lot of talk about on-page optimization. And I have optimization in quotes because there were some rules that were in place that everybody went by. And this was how on-page optimization was done. There was one rule that was always talked about in this time period, and it was 3 keywords per page title. So your page title, essentially, on your website would just read like this. It would read keyword, comma, keyword, comma, keyword. There was also different keyword density rules. So that meant that for every 100 words on your page, there would be 3 keywords in with that content. So just different rules like this that were, I don't want to use the word manipulative in a bad way, even though that's essentially what it was. There was a sense for what Google was looking at, and then we would implement these types of tactics, and Google would favor them and list your website accordingly. So keeping those last 2 slides in mind, please, for the future of SEO. Now we're going to look at the period from 2010 to 2012. This is when Google started to force the internet marketers to start thinking outside the box. In this time period, Google rolled out a lot of updates. And it wasn't just updates to their algorithm that affected how people ranked. Granted, those were in here, and we are going to talk about those. But they introduced new products completely that completely changed how Google functioned as a search engine and information provider. So things like Google Places, Google Instant, Google Plus was launched in this time period. The plus one button was also introduced in this time period. The knowledge graph was also introduced. So these updates changed the way that Google displayed their information. And then there was also things like the exact match domain update, the Venice update. And then, of course, there was Google Panda. Google Panda began in 2010, and it forced a lot of people to change the way that they thought about content. Through all of these new things that Google was introducing, it was very obvious that Google was beginning to really start thinking about the end user and to display more relevant information to that end user. So it was time for SEOs to start thinking outside of the box and start thinking on a more brand and granular level. And I want to point out 2012 specifically. 2012 was the year of spam action, in my opinion. It was the year of spam action. That was when the first Google Penguin update came out. And that was a signal that Google was really going to start targeting what they considered to be spam tactics. So in a lot of instances, there were cases where those tactics that we used to perform, article directories, general web directories, these types of things were no longer considered to be legitimate backlinks. And even those uses of keyword-rich anchor text links, those were also regarded as spam tactics. And then also on-page tactics were targeted as well. So this is when Google really started to make it known that they wanted website owners to start looking at their websites as a piece of marketing material and not so much just a standalone technology-based thing that was live on the web. 2013, this spam action continued. Google continued to go after these spam tactics, and they really started to tighten what was acceptable and what was not acceptable by their standards. So getting to this slide here, looking at 2014, I really feel that the best way to go about SEO and internet marketing is just to take a deep breath and think of it as a new beginning. It's time that we have to start thinking of SEO as an integral part of your marketing strategy. Before, SEO used to be really just considered to be a standalone piece to your marketing. So it was just a thing that was done to your website in hopes that your rankings would start to climb. Now, I remember working at different agencies over the past few years and having the conversation with clients that just said, don't worry, you won't see these efforts. Nobody will know that these things are happening. These are technical things that are happening on the back end that your end user isn't going to see. Looking back on it now, we really should have been thinking, okay, it's time to start thinking of SEO and internet marketing as an extension of a brand. We really should have started thinking that, this is really a business's presence that we are dealing with here. So that is how you're going to remain successful in SEO for 2014 and beyond. If you're going to be actively looking for backlinks, because they are still a ranking signal, they just have to be quality ones, they have to be organic. And the other thing is to make sure that your website content is written for the end user. It's written for your potential customer, not the search engines. Everything that you do on your website should be done with it in mind that somebody is going to be reading this, not just a robot. If I can just use a real example that NetElixir and our other products, Elixir SEO and Elixir Marketplace did. We at NetElixir are obviously all about sharing knowledge and helping our community. We decided that as a company, we were going to support a local startup weekend, the New Jersey Startup Weekend. We decided that we wanted to be associated with this. So we were a sponsor for them. In return, they wrote a blog about NetElixir and LXR SEO and LXR Marketplace that we didn't solicit. Our efforts were purely based around the fact that we felt that this was a good organization, and in return, they sent us backlinks to our website, which held an SEO benefit. To me, that is what SEO is all about now. It is about being a good company, and of course, you want those backlinks. Let's not kid anybody. That's what it's all about in the SEO world. But you have to acquire them through legitimate means and not through shady tactics like just submitting for them and waiting for a week. Even still, there are actions being taken by Google to take down easy tactics and easy ways of getting these backlinks. So even just yesterday and today even, Matt Cutts over at Google and the blogosphere, they're going crazy over the fact that they took action on a guest blogging network. And you can see the snippets here. We're not going to go into this topic specifically, but even still, Google is looking at these tactics and saying, okay, these are just easy ways of getting backlinks, and the only benefit that they have are for the backlink purposes. They don't serve a real purpose to the end user, per se. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hop over to the web, and we're going to do a light audit. And these are just simple things that you can do to see if your website is up to par with everything that we just spoke about. So we're looking at things that, and we want them to appear natural because they have to be natural. So we mentioned JCPenney's earlier in this presentation and how they were penalized. Now, they obviously went through a brand overhaul, and all of that was, I believe, partially related to the fact that their URL was under this penalty. So the first thing that you can take a look at is the backlink profile. Now, obviously, I'm going to use the LXR Marketplace tool. You can use, you can see up to 20 of your most recent backlinks. And what you want to keep an eye out for here is if the keywords in this anchor text section are geared around keywords. So if we saw that JCPenney's, if we look at their page title right up here, it says women's clothing. If their anchor text just said over and over again, women's clothing, women's clothing, women's clothing, women's clothing, women's clothing, that would be a red flag. That would show signs that they were falling into old SEO tactics from the past. And if you see, even in the top 20 the top 20 backlinks, that's a sign that there are some older tactics taking place on your website. The next thing that you can do is go over to Google and use this command here. It's site : and then you plug in your URL and hit search. So what this allows you to do is take a look at all of the individual pages that Google has in their index, and it allows you to see your page title and meta descriptions right here in your Google listing, and you can start to see patterns of, okay, are there just a ton of keywords thrown in here? It looks like they are doing that a little bit here with their, they're just listing out different keywords. That's neither here nor there, but that is just a signal that there are some older SEO tactics going on. And these are two very easy things that you can do on your own to see if your website is potentially under any kind of issue and stuck in the past a little bit, because now it's not so much about getting those keywords in there. It's more about making your website more relevant to the end user and getting that person to your website by using more natural language and not language for the search engines. here's the this presentation will be live at our website very soon on NetElixir.com. We have a link here to the backlink checking tool that you can use to plug in your website if you wanted to check that out. And then there's also Google.com, the site command, and then also you can dive even deeper on your website and do a view page source. So that will allow you to see if your content has a few too many keywords in it and a few other elements as well. And of course, if you're interested in a deeper dive done here by the NetElixir team, we would be happy to provide a complimentary SEO evolution analysis to today's webinar attendees. If you're interested, feel free to email Marin at marin@netelixir.com. So we're going to open it up for questions here. So absolutely type in your questions into the question box, and we would be more than happy to answer anything. And if we can't get to any, we will definitely be following up with a blog post about any unanswered questions. So let's start filling these in here.
All right, thank you so much, Shawn, for that presentation. So let's see here. Let's get the questions going. All right, Shawn's first question. Do you think Google will ever not use backlinks for ranking?
That's a really tough question because part of what Google made Google is the fact that they used backlinks as a ranking factor, and that's what made them different right out of the gate. So anybody that has been toying around on the internet for a long period of time knows that there were a lot of bad search engines in the very early days of the internet. Google came along and they just seemed to provide better quality results right out of the gate, and that's because they used backlinks as a ranking factor. Now, Google has said that they are experimenting with a version of the algorithm that does not use backlinks, but they said it was a massive failure. So who knows what they're going to do in the long run, but anything could happen, I guess you could say. But when the time comes, if that should happen, it's definitely a possibility, but I don't see it happening anytime in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you. So another question is, we pay bloggers to blog about our clients, and often they forget to use affiliate or no-follow links. Are we playing with fire?
That's a great question, and it truthfully depends on the website. So what that means is that is a very good question. So if the blogger that is writing to you is of lower quality, then yeah, it absolutely could be it could have a negative impact on you, and especially if it is on Google's radar that this is a bad website, then yeah, it could definitely there could definitely be a problem down the road.
All right, thank you, Shawn. Okay, so another question. What exact information can I see when I type in site and my address into Google that will tell me if my site's stuck in the past, and how do I know?
That's another great question. So the site command is used to show what pages Google has in their index from your website. So what that allows you to do is see the page titles and meta descriptions of every page of your website in one quick snapshot. So what you'll see is, if everything that's listed out in front of you just looks like a bunch of keywords and not really in plain language, then that is a signal that you're following some older tactics.
Okay, thank you so much. This is also fascinating. So another question. Do you find that quantity of content within a subject area is important? In other words, is it much easier to rank for keywords if you have many pages within a subject area?
So this is truthfully the quality over quantity rule. My rule of thumb is always it should make sense. So if you have, say, 10 products, and you can thoroughly describe all of them on one page, then I would, and it serves your end user the best to do it that way, then I would do it that way. But if there was, if it would serve your users better to do 10 individual pages, then I would do it that way. So I know it's not really the best answer, but truthfully, from my perspective, I like to think about the end user and try to target what I feel their needs are, and in the end, that's how you're going to win.
Great. Thank you, Shawn. Another question is, are we going to be able to see a copy of this presentation? And the answer is yes, we will be sharing it with everyone, as Shawn had mentioned. So definitely feel free to reach out to Shawn or myself if any additional questions pop up, and you feel free to reach out to Marin at NetElixir.com. If you'd like more information about NetElixir search marketing services and technology, and also feel free to connect with Shawn if you have any questions you'd like to ask him specifically about SEO, and he'd be happy to answer. We invite you again to spread the love and tweet about our webinar, #NetElixirU. And we really do appreciate your time today. Feel free to reach out to us if there's anything else we can do to help you share knowledge, and enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you next month.